This story is called Mossy Coat and is dedicated to Donna Murphy and Macy Whitbread. Once upon a time, in a cottage in a village lived a girl called Macy. She lived with her mother, and they were very close, but they were also very poor, so Macy decided to walk to a nearby town, where there was a palace. Her mother was sad to see her go, but she bade Macy go to the forest and collect some moss from a tree. Then Macy's mother wove the moss into a beautiful coat, which Macy wore underneath her clothes. She then grabbed some supplies and set off toward the palace. When she got there, she found the maids in quite a state. There was to be 3 grand balls that started the following day, and they didn't have enough maids. Macy gladly stepped in. Macy loved her new room, but she had to share it with all the other maids in the castle. They saw her mossy coat when she unchanged, and very quickly Macy had earned herself a new name, Mossy Coat. The next day, Macy sat in her room, wishing so desperately that she should somehow go to the ball. But Macy did not know that her mother was a witch. She had woven a magic spell into the coat as she had woven the coat to make it. As Macy sat in her room, the coat turned her drab kitchen clothes into a beautiful ball gown. It was the most beautiful thing that Macy had ever seen. It was made of a soft blue fabric with a pale pink sash. It seemed to shimmer and float like wisps of cloud. Her hair was elegantly done up in ringlets, and she had elegant pink silk slippers on her feet. Macy went downstairs, wondering if anyone would notice her, but they did not. As soon as the prince saw her, his breath caught in his throat. He knew that she was the one he had been looking for, and he did not wish to marry anyone else but her. The prince offered an arm, and he walked Macy to the centre of the dance floor where the two began to dance. They danced all evening, the prince having no eyes for anyone else. When dawn came, Macy returned herself to the bedroom. Instantly the coat returned her clothes to normal. The castle was buzzing, many people wondering who the strange woman was that the prince had danced with all evening. Macy smiled to herself. She knew. The next day, Macy returned to her room and sat on her bed. She wanted again so desperately to go to the ball. And her coat obliged. A new ball gown was created. This gown was even more beautiful than the one before, cloth of silver with a pink sash with a bow on it, frilled sleeves with elegant silver embroidery on them, and a flowing skirt that caught the light just right. Macy was overcome. The prince was waiting for her and smiled beatifically as she arrived. As with the previous night, he paid no attention to the other girls and danced only with Macy. They walked through the gardens, talking and laughing and getting on famously. The next day, while cleaning, Macy overheard the talk of some girls in a parlour of the palace. They were talking about the strange woman and how jealous they were that the prince could only dance with her and not them. Feeling saddened by their words, she returned to her bedroom. She did not know if she should return to the ball the next night, but the temptation was just too strong, and she wished as hard as she could. Another ball gown appeared. This gown was made of cloth of gold with a dark gold sash. This time her hair was decorated with cream roses. She looked more beautiful than anyone had ever looked before. She entered the ballroom, and there was silence as she entered. The prince took her hand and danced with her all night. But as the dawn approached, Macy left the ballroom, intending to go to her bedroom. The prince followed her, frightened because she did not want the prince to find out that she was merely a servant girl. She dashed into the rainy night. The prince followed her, desperate to catch his beautiful dancing partner, but she was far too fast for him. The prince searched for hours and hours without luck. When Macy returned to the castle, she was horror-struck to realise that the prince had been taken ill because he had spent so long in the rain. He was in bed and the doctors were fearful for his life. Feeling sorry for him, Macy went to his bedside, hoping that he would not recognise her in kitchen clothes. The prince was unconscious, but as she touched him, he opened his eyes. He caught sight of Macy's face and recognised her at once. Fearfully, Macy left and ran to her bedroom. The prince summoned a maid to his bedchamber. "Who was the maid that was here just now?" "Oh, you mean Mossy Coat," said the maid unkindly. "I command you to take her to me immediately." The prince was wheeled to Macy's bedroom, and there he found Macy. He fell down on his knees and begged her to tell him what had happened. Tearfully, Macy obliged and told the prince of the magical coat. The prince kissed her and asked her to marry him. Macy accepted. Though the kingdom was divided, one half being so jealous of Macy and the other half being glad, the wedding was big and very happy. The mossy coat was put into the country's museum so that everybody could come and see it. Thank you for watching. As usual, I'll put the links in the description, and I'm really glad that you all watched. Thank you very much.